So Mike, why is it important for us to monitor our APIs?
It's a great question. In my view, there are two categories why you may want to monitor your APIs. The first category are the engineering insights, and the second category are the business insights. For the engineering insights, you may want to monitor your APIs to investigate all the failures in your system. So you may want to explore why certain requests failed and what caused the errors. You may also want to correlate those requests in the API management platform with the requests in the backend services, and maybe even with the logic or flow that the client application performed. And as an engineer, you want to troubleshoot the problem and then resolve it. For the business insights, imagine you're a product owner or product manager of an API program inside your company, and you want to report the success of your program to, for example, the higher management, or you may also want to track certain KPIs about the API program that you're running. For example, how many people use your APIs, how many API subscriptions there are, what kind of geographical regions do people use the APIs from, and how many total API requests do you get every day or every month. All of these are valuable pieces of information for you to decide how to drive the APIs further and how to evolve the APIs that you offer. So now let me show you in the Azure portal how you can monitor the APIs with Azure API Management. We'll start with the built-in analytics functionality. These are the API reports that are provided for you by the API Management service. For example, you can see the number of total requests, how many requests succeeded, how many requests failed, etc. You can monitor how much data has been transferred, what are the response times, and how many times has the cache been hit. You can also investigate where are the client applications calling in from. So for example, in my case, I have some requests from Japan, Ireland, and the USA. I can also monitor and observe what is the traffic per APIs that I have and per subscriptions that I have, that users have. And lastly, how many calls has each user made. So these are the built-in API reports that you can explore in the Azure portal, but you can also download them through the REST API and investigate them yourself. The second functionality for monitoring your APIs in Azure API Management is the Azure Monitor. Azure Monitor allows you to monitor the metrics as well as the logs around your APIs. So let's take a look at the metrics. For example, one of the most interesting metrics that Azure API Management exposes is the capacity metric. The capacity metric encompasses several internal metrics, and it informs you how busy your service is serving all the API requests that are arriving to that service. And you can use that metric to make scale up or scale out decisions. For example, if your capacity metric is constantly at the 80% or 90% mark, you may want to consider scaling out your service. And you can do it manually, or you can set alerts. If you set alerts, you can, for example, get an email or get a text message, or even set an automated scaling rule that will scale the service for you. For Azure Monitor Logs, this is a very powerful functionality that relies on the Custo query language. So it provides you similar information as the built-in analytics, built-in API report that I just showed you, but with much more flexibility, where you can write your own custom queries to aggregate the data the way you want it, to query the data the way you want it, to filter it, etc. Maybe even render some graphs and charts. In this example, it's a very simple query that investigates the last 100 API calls in API management, but you can extend those queries to fulfill more logic. And the last monitoring functionality that I wanted to mention is the Azure Application Insights. In Azure API Management, you can attach an Azure Application Insights logger to every API, and you can set sampling for logging of those APIs. Then in Azure Application Insights, you can log all the requests that will be logged as part of that sampling and all the responses. And what's also very interesting is that you can log the request not only from Azure API Management, but also from client applications and backend services, and then correlate all these logs together to investigate the failures end-to-end from the client to API Management to the backend service. In this example, Azure Application Insights is showing me precise information about the errors that have occurred in my API Management service. And as you can see, there is a lot of failed requests, most of them with the status code 401, which means unauthorized. It's probably the authentication header, for example, wasn't included in the request or it wasn't correct. There are a few other failure reasons, like for example 404, which means not found. Maybe this operation isn't exposed. And perhaps someone was just trying to break our API and find all the endpoints that weren't exposed. So just to recap, Azure API Management allows you to monitor your APIs in a variety of ways. And also you can monitor those APIs for engineering insights and for business insights.
Okay. Well, thanks, Mike. I mean, this is great that there's always great ways to establish a feedback loop and understand what's going on with our APIs, both within the software that's talking to these APIs, but also all the things that are going on in the back end. So thank you so much for that, and we'll see you later.
Yeah, thanks for having me.